we're waiting for the white puff of smoke to let us know where Odell Beckham Jr. will sign his next contract, his first foray into free agency. And look, Chris, I said this last night on PFTPM. One of the problems with having choices is eventually you have to choose.
Yeah.
And I think that may be what OBJ is going through right now. He's got different options with different factors and different pros and cons, and he can only make one decision. And once he makes it, that's it. For the rest of the year, that's it. And he wants to take the time and make the right decision. It also tells me there isn't one option that is screaming out to him, this is where you need to go.
Yeah, I would say so too. It does seem like it says that, and again, I think when we talk about the teams here in a second and a little bit of like, why, I think, it'll lay it out. It's not an easy decision. When you talk about the Chiefs, Packers, and Saints, right? Those are the three teams we're hearing the most around the OBJ conversation. But I understand him maybe taking his time. He's got to be careful. Careful's the word here. This is more than even this year. This is the perception, the legacy of OBJ, who has Hall of Fame talent, was on a Hall of Fame, pace early on in his career, and of course, it's nowhere near that the last few years. So there's a lot of things I think that go into this. And, of course, I even think this year's decision, it's just the remainder of this year. It's going to affect how much he gets paid, how much he's wanted next year, where he goes, all those other factors. So this is a very, very big decision. It's his first time he's had to make a decision like this. And, I'm going to be interested to see what he does when it comes down to it.
I'm hearing more about the Patriots and the Packers right now. I'm hearing, from everything I've heard over the past 24 hours, it's Saints, Chiefs, Patriots. The Packers made basically an offer he can't accept of minimum salary when they've got $4 million in cap space. Someone who's been around for a while said to me yesterday, they're just trying to make it look like they made an effort to sign him, but they don't really want to. If you want him, you have the money, you have the cap space, you go get him. They're not making the hard sell that maybe other teams are. The Patriots are focused, I think, on trying to get him, but it's an uphill climb because they have Mac Jones at quarterback, and you've really got to sell him on how you're going to use him. And part of the problem is when you go to New England, what do? You got to accept. Once you sign that contract, they can tell you whatever you want. Once you sign that contract, you're theirs, and you're doing whatever they tell you to do, and that's it. You just have to deal with it. So that's one of the reasons why I think even though the Patriots seem to be motivated, they're not at the top of the stack. As of yesterday afternoon, Chris, I was hearing from people that the Saints were believed to be the one. And then middle of the afternoon, it flipped to the Chiefs to the point where I thought it was imminent that we were going to hear that he had agreed to terms with the Chiefs. Then we saw the report from NFL media that he may take a few days. Well, as of last night, and I posted this, I think right after midnight, the pendulum has swung to the Chiefs right now. There's a thought that he's going to join the Chiefs. Said Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. And that would say he resolved his choices, his factors, his options by saying, I'll take a great quarterback. I'll accept being second or third fiddle. I'll take a team that has a pretty damn good chance of playing into January, into the postseason, and people who are home, GMs, coaches, owners, done for the year, can watch me in the postseason and add me to their list of teams or of guys that maybe they want to get in free agency. So, that's what favors the Chiefs. What favors the Saints is he's the unquestioned number one receiver, and Sean Payton would presumably design play after play after play to get the ball in his hands, even if the guy delivering the ball isn't a high-end franchise quarterback.
No, I think that's right. I mean, there's a lot of good things you said there. I mean, the first one I want to just bring up right at the start was like money. Like, why? Who gives a damn about the money right now? If you're OBJ, that would be one thing. I mean, again, if I was involved or knew somebody in his camp, I'd go, well, who cares? That has nothing to do with it. You made a lot of money. You're still going to make good money this year from the Cleveland Browns. Like, don't let that be any factor in this decision at all.
Well, but he's got to make $3 million to break even on what he was already going to make.
Yeah, okay.
If he's worried about that, he's got to make $3 million to break even.
Yes, okay.
But you also set yourself up, as you mentioned,
right,
for next year.
Right.
So you get yourself in a good spot. You get a much larger contract in 2022. So the money is he can't get so caught up in the
Yes.
$3 million
Yes.
that he forgets about the prize that may be out there when he gets to legitimately join free agency in the usual way.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. You're right. You can't let that be just the overriding factor in this decision. There's just way more at play here. Your future at play here. So don't let, $1 million, $2 million, like totally dictate the situation when, it might mean, okay, you took $1 million less with this team, but got $10 million more next year because you're on that team and we're a success and, one of the driving factors for them winning and being successful on offense. So, that would be the first thing I think that jumps out to me. And then, you said it, I think out of the teams, we've talked about, I think I've heard more Chiefs, Saints, Patriots to go along with that. The Packers, I haven't heard anything substantial to think like, oh, yeah, that's a real thing other than just listening to other media, reports. And you kind of narrowed it down the right way. I look at like, hey, the Patriots and the Saints, I know they know how to feature a guy and feed him the ball over and over and over and over and come out with a lot of different ways to get their special players the football. That, to me, is the great advantage of those two teams. McDaniels, Belichick, Sean Payton, they just understand formations, defensive play calls, defensive schemes, and they know how to get guys the ball. Like we've seen with whether it's Michael Thomas, lots of receivers even before that in the Sean Payton system that racked up tons of catches. And then, of course, the Patriots can do it any way they want. I mean, they can do whatever they want. They go, oh, this week it's Gronk, this week it's Edelman, this week it's both. Oh, this week it's Edelman in the back, out of the backfield. And, in either place, Patriots or Saints, he gets to be the lead dog, like you said. And I think he fits, systematically a little bit more like what they do too. Not that he fits anywhere, but he can run some of that underneath change of direction stuff too. It's one of the things I think that gets lost in OBJ's game. He's a phenomenal route runner. I mean, he is top-notch that way. And those are two teams that value route running. It is about, hey, how do you set this guy up? What do you do when you read this coverage? I need you to run this route like this. And then when it's in this coverage, I want you to run it like that. And he understands that. They understand that. And that's where I could see, that being very appealing. But, yeah, the quarterback situation and the way they play the game right now, those teams, it's not going to be 45 throws a game. And it might not always lead to, fun and the most explosive offense in football. So these are the things he'll have to balance because that's going to be different, of course, than the Chiefs conversation where it could be a little bit more wide open, but I don't know if they know how to feature a guy quite that way. I mean, we see too many games where there's just no Tyreek Hill's involved for 1, 2, 3 weeks in a row, and then all of a sudden he explodes out of nowhere. So sorry to talk so long there. I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
Well, you said something about the Patriots that caught my ear.
Yeah.
In New Orleans, OBJ gets featured every game, like Michael Thomas got featured every game and racked up 385 catches a couple of years ago. In New England, it's going to depend on who the opponent is. And 1 week it's an OBJ game. The next week it's a Hunter Henry game. The next week it's a Kendrick Bourne game. And the next week it's all run. So that's a factor as well. And he's had that long-standing affinity for New England. Yeah. But that was 2019 and Tom Brady was there when the Browns were getting ready to play the Patriots then. And by the way, the Browns play the Patriots again this weekend. OBJ was making his intrigue with the Patriots known. And I think he craved this idea of being in a winning program with a winning culture, and he probably just craved being anywhere but Cleveland. And now he gets all due respect to Cleveland, but I just don't think he wanted to be there. He never wanted to be there. They never asked him if he wanted to go there. They traded him. I mean, it was bad from the get-go. It was doomed from the start. You trade one of the premier receivers in the NFL. And he finds out about it while he's out to dinner in Europe, I think, is how he learned of it.
That's right.
It's not the way that you set the tone for success when he's got no say over where he's going next. And now he's got that say. And yeah, the Patriots sound good if the choice is Patriots or Browns. Or the Chiefs sound good if the choice is Chiefs or Browns. The Saints sound good if the choice is Saints or Browns. But if it's Saints, Chiefs, Patriots,
there's a lot to weigh there.
Who knows?
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights. From NBC Sports.